Good late afternoon, mates. Today is the fantastic Friday, January 29th, 2021, and I'm out visiting the famed Buck Creek State Park. Well, technically I'm at the reservoir, which the property that I'm standing on is actually part of federal property. It's actually part of the United States government, specifically the Army Corps of Engineers, because they were responsible for building this whole reservoir that you can see in the distance. And they had a particular reason as to why they installed this reservoir. And it actually surrounds the perimeter, even out way in the distance too. The main reason that they wanted to do this was because of flood control. So if it were to ever have rain periods, the Buck Creek would actually overflow, and the Buck Creek runs through the city of Springfield. So that's one of the main reasons. And not only that, but they wanted to also control the amount of sediment that's deposited. See, with streams, it's good to have sediments deposited. However, you don't want too much sediment. Reason being is sediment can accumulate a lot if it's not controlled whatsoever. And it actually has potential to drown out any communities that might be on a stream bed. And along with that, the more sediments that are depositing in a stream, it increases the amount of erosion that happens along a stream bank. And that's not a good thing, because, well, rivers naturally like to widen if they can. And unfortunately, if there's too much erosion, too much soil can get into the stream. I know it sounds surprising, but thing is, with soil, since it is rich in nutrient value, in terms of nitrogen, carbon, you name it. If there's too much soil in the stream, that can cause certain nutrients to become present, thus giving rise to certain algae that can be in the water. And that's the thing, like, you don't want to have too much algae either. And that's the thing, like, what happens, like, in terms of erosion, the material that's deposited, that carries downstream too. And that can actually affect even the Gulf of Mexico too, of how much sediment accumulates and how many nutrients there is. Because you have to figure, like, where we are directly above the Buck Creek watershed. And that's like a sub-watershed of the Mad River watershed. And then the Mad River watershed is like a sub-watershed of the Great Miami River. And then it just keeps going and going. So technically, anywhere we are standing, we're technically on top of a watershed. And I actually helped define that in the last video. It's basically an underground feature that stores groundwater. And usually those exist because of streams in an area. With that all in mind, that dam way over there that has the structure, they have to control how much water goes in or out. Like, I think it usually happens every time at 6 in the morning. They'll release a certain amount of water. So it's just a way for them to control the stream flow. But given, too, that it is winter, the water level may actually appear a little less, like it has dropped. And that's just simply because we haven't really had any form of precipitation whatsoever. And unfortunately, that I did mention the other day, the Buck Creek has something called the CSO, which is basically a combined sewer overflow. Because unfortunately, sometimes that sewage has to go somewhere, despite that Springfield does have a treatment plant. But yeah, that is some of the main reasons why the reservoir is here, is for those specific controls, both for the benefit of the city and that of the stream ecosystem. And you can see that the sun is soon about to rest. Oh man. All right. So I thought I would share that with you guys. I hope you got something out of the video. Sometimes man-made projects can make a difference every now and then. But stay tuned for the weekend coming up. I actually have a couple of adventures that I have in mind, but I'm not going to discuss them any further because that's what creates the excitement for the page, is like, what's he going to do next? So, all right. Hope all of you enjoy your Friday, and Durnye on a Journey is out. Take care, folks.